Hey, good morning to you guys. This is Mr. Ainsworth. We're going to get into section 9.4 and talk about how to multiply polynomials using distributive property here. And before we do, let's go ahead and state it. Okay, suppose you're taking the number a here, multiplying it by a binomial b plus c. All right, what the distributive property states is that you got to take a times your first term, and that's a times b, plus, all right, a times your second term, a times c. That also works for minus, so if you saw a minus sign here, it also worked for this too as well. So AB, all right, plus or minus, depending on what you see, AC. That's called distributive property. All you do is multiply all terms in the polynomial by that leading term right here, A. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's go through a series of examples here, get a lot of practice and kick in some of the material we learned before. We're going to take our first term here, the 2x here, and we are going to distribute it through a couple times. So a here is 2x. So 2x times my first term, 3x, all right, minus, all right, 2x here times the 5. So I distribute it twice here, and now all you do is regroup and multiply. So 2 times 3 times x minus 2 times 5. All right, times x. Remember that the way you group terms of multiplication and the way you switch the order does not matter when you multiply. So I can regroup anytime I want. 2 times 3 is 6. All right, x times x is x squared, minus 2 times 5 is 10, times x is 10x. And these are not like terms because this is a second degree term and that's a first degree term. All right, so all you have to do is multiply the constants and then multiply the variables. It's as simple as it gets. All right, here we go again. Let's try it again. So negative 3y, all right, times my first term, 4y squared, minus, because there's a minus sign here, negative 3y times 3y. So negative 3y times 3y, plus, all right, plus negative 3y times 2. So notice that I took my negative 3y and I multiplied it by all three terms. Now all you do is simplify. All right, negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. The y times y squared, you got to add the exponents when you're multiplying because I'm multiplying 3 y's together, which gives me y cubed. Here I see a double negative. All right, a negative times a negative is it's a positive, so you put plus. And then you go 3 times 3 is 9. Y times y is y squared. And then you got this 2 times 3 is 6, or 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, so a minus 6y here. Third degree, second degree, first degree. All in like terms, leave it as is. Okay? Now a lot of people, they don't distribute through the term like I did here. They do it all in their head, and that's fine. They just write the result. And that's what you want to get to when you get to be really good. All right? But I'm just stepping it out and showing good habits like we always do. Okay, and the next one here, I've got to take a negative 5x squared and multiply by 3x cubed first. So negative 5x squared times 3x cubed, all right, minus negative 5x squared times my second term. So negative 5x squared times the 5x squared, and then plus negative 5x squared times my third term, 6x. So all I did was I distributed through 3 times and then I regroup and multiply. Okay, negative 5 times 3, I got to multiply my constants, I get negative 15. X squared times x cubed is x to the 5th, because you got to add the exponents there. Multiplying 2x's here and 3x's here, 5 in all, so it gives me x to the 5th. Here, a negative times a negative is seen right here. That's positive, so we put plus. All right, 5 times 5, 25. X squared times x squared gives you x to the 4th. And then a plus minus, or a negative 5 times 6 gives you a negative 30, so a minus 30. Over here, it'd be a negative times a positive is a negative. And x squared times x gives you x cubed. All right? When you multiply your variables, you add your exponents. Remember that. And there's no like terms because that's 5th degree, 4th degree, 3rd degree. You're done at that point. Okay, on this one here, you got a negative 5 times 5x. Okay. I'm going to start skipping a few steps here to give you a negative 25x right there. All right, plus negative 5 times 6 is negative 30. So you can write it as plus negative 30, or you can write it as just minus 30 there. That's this one right here. Negative 5 times 6 is negative 30. Then you got to distribute through the negative 2. So a negative 2 times x gives you a negative 2x. And then a negative 2 times 1 gives you a negative 2. And you have to reorder. Okay, so I've got to reorder the like terms. So I see a negative 25x minus the 2x. And then I also see a minus 30 and a minus 2. So minus 30 minus 2. So I just reordered there. Reorder like terms. And then what you want to do is you want to combine. Okay, a negative 25 minus 2 more will give you a negative 27. So a negative 27x here. And a minus 30 minus 2 gives you minus 32. Okay, this is a variable term and that's a constant term. They're unlike, so you're done at that point. All right. So now what you do is you take negative 2x times 5x squared. So negative 2x times 5x squared here, plus negative 2x times 6x. So negative 2x times 6x, and then a negative 2x times 3. So actually there's a minus sign there, so I'm going to put minus. Negative 2x times 3. So negative 2x times 3. And then I've got to distribute through here again. Negative 2 times x squared, and then a negative 2 times a negative 1 will give you plus 2. Okay, so here we go. Regroup and multiply. So negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. X times x squared is x cubed. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. X times x gives you an x squared, so a negative 12x squared. So you can write it as a plus negative 12x squared or a minus 12x squared. And then here there's a double negative. All right, when you add the opposite, you get a positive there. And 2x times 3 is 6x. Minus 2x squared plus the 2. Okay, now starting with my highest degree term is a negative 10x cubed. My squared terms here can be combined. So minus 12x squared and a minus 2x squared gives you a minus 14x squared. And then I've got the plus 6x and then a plus 2. Okay, third degree, second degree, first degree, and 0 degree. This is called standard form. All right, high exponent to low. Always write your answers in the standard form. All right, and last example here before you try it here. You got negative 3x times your 6x plus negative 3x times 4. Then negative 2x times, negative 2 times x squared, so minus 2 times x squared. And then a negative 2 times a negative 7x. So it would be a negative 2 times a negative 7x. Right there. When you distribute on the second one there. So negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. X times x is x squared. Here negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. So times x gives you negative 12x or minus 12x. Minus 2x squared here. And then a negative times a negative is a positive. So negative 2 times negative 7 is 14x here. Adding like terms, starting with the highest degrees. So we have negative 18 and negative 2 is negative 20 x squared. And then we've got minus 12x and a plus 14x. Well, let me see. 14 minus 12 is 2, and that's positive, so plus 2x here. And that's all there is to it in this lesson here. You're just going to get really good at it. Okay, and now it's time for you to try it. All right, so here's where we pause and play through the video. I want you to pause it right now and give G a shot, and then after about 30 seconds after you try it, when the class is ready, press play and review it and summarize it and check it, and then pause and play throughout the rest of the video. Okay? Go ahead and pause and go for it. Okay, we're back now, and 7x times 2x is 14x squared. 7x times 3 is 21x, so minus 21x here. Okay, skipping a few steps there. All right, on the next one, go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and give it a shot. Okay, we're back now, and I see on the first term here, negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Y times y squared is y cubed. On the second term, I've got a negative times a negative is a positive, so I write down plus. Negative 2 times negative 7 is 14. Y times y is y squared. And then the last one, a negative 2 times a negative 2 is a positive 4, so go plus 4, and then times a y, would be y, 4y. Standard form, third degree, second degree, first degree. All right, pause the video, try the next one. Okay, let's check down. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. W squared times w cubed is w to the fifth, because you're adding exponents there. On the second term, you got a negative times a negative is a positive, so a negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2, so go plus 2. W squared times w squared is w to the fourth. And then on the third term, negative 2 times 4 is negative 8, so write down a minus 8. W squared times w is w cubed. All right, pause the video and try the next one. All right, let's check. All right, negative 4 times 5x is negative 20x. Negative 4 times negative 6 is plus 24 or positive 24. Negative 2 times 8x is negative 16x. And a negative 2 times 1 is a minus 2. Regroup. All right, and now we've got a negative 20 and a negative 16 is a negative 36x here. And a 24 minus a 2 is a 22. All right, let's keep it going here. Now, pause the video and try the next one. Okay, we're back now, so let's try it. Negative 3 times 7 is a negative 21. Y times y squared is y cubed. On the second term, negative 3 times 5 is a negative 15. Y times y is y squared. And on the third term, negative 3y times negative 3 is positive 9y, because a negative times a negative is a positive, so we write down plus. And then here we got a negative 3 times y squared. And then negative 3 times a negative 1 would be a positive 3. Starting with the highest exponent, so the negative 21y cubed. Combining my second degree terms right here, I got a negative 15 and negative 3 is a negative 18, y squared, plus 9y, and then plus 3, and all are unlike terms. Third degree, second degree, first degree, 0 degree, standard form. Okay, right there, standard form. Okay, pause the video, try the last one here. Okay, and let's check out and see what we have. Negative 4 times 9, negative 36. Q times Q is Q squared. Negative 4 times a negative 3, or a negative 4Q times a negative 3 would be a positive 12Q. On the second term, a negative 5 times Q squared would be a negative 5Q squared. And then negative 5 times a negative 7 would be a positive 35Q. And then regroup, we've got the squared terms here as my first group, and I've got the q's in my second group. So I've got a negative 36q squared minus 5q squared, and then a plus 12q plus 35q. So how many q squareds do I have? Well, a negative 36 and a negative 5 is a negative 41 q squared. And then my second group, 12 and 35, well, that would be 47, so positive 47q. All right, standard form. And that's all there is to it, guys. All right, so turn the next page. Let's work on the distributive property here, and go ahead and work through down that worksheet, and you can check my results here. And also you can do extra practice 9.4, so you got 2 to do. This one here, 9.4, extra practice, as well as the distributive property. So then following 2 pages. All right, just use the same skills, give it your best. All right, it's all about multiplying a monomial times a polynomial here using the distributive property. All right, I'll see you in the next lesson.